Today we are going to be talking about stepping up and setting boundaries. I've done other videos and podcast episodes about boundaries, but the reason I wanted to come on today, because I can't ever stress it, right? And for a long time, I did not know what boundaries were. I guess I didn't really know the word of it. I had some, but they were very fluid. They weren't anything that they kept me feeling like underappreciated and like a doormat. That's what boundaries do. When you don't have them, it can really lead to a lot of situations or a lot of uneasiness in your life. And we often think of like boundaries as like these strict like lines in the, lines in the dirt that we can't cross or that others can't cross. And really what boundaries do is it allows for healthier relationships. And so today I wanted to talk again about the importance of boundaries and share a little bit about how to set them and how to communicate them and how to know when you need to step up and set some boundaries. Setting boundaries involves creating and maintaining a healthy relationship with yourself and others by setting limits and expectations. I should have done a little bit of, I should have wrote down, because I do have past podcast episodes and lives that I've done about boundaries, as I mentioned. So maybe afterwards I'll put some in the show notes and in the comment section. I'll go back and reference a few, because the first one I want to reference is because I just shared with you about yourself. I have honor your boundaries. And that is all about what kind of tapping into your integrity and doing what you say you're going to do and setting some limits around your own behaviors. But today we're going to talk about setting boundaries around others or in regards to others. Setting boundaries can help us have healthier relationships, have more control over our own lives, and can reduce stress and anxiety. A few weeks ago, I did the Stressed Less Supermom Masterclass, and we talked a bit about boundaries and how we can create these lines, or it really is just to protect ourselves and to allow others. What am I trying to say? I feel like I'm tripping over my words this morning. We teach others how we want to be treated with the boundaries that we set. By letting others know how we expect to be treated, it allows others to know how to treat us. And when we don't have boundaries, we end up getting treated like trash, right? We end up treating that's where we feel unappreciated. We feel like we're stretched thin because we haven't learned what it means to put limits around ourselves. Some signs that may come up, or some signs that mean you need to step up and set boundaries, include when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling stretched thin or like pulled tight like a rubber band and you feel like you can't get on solid ground. If you're feeling exhausted more days than not, where you feel like your to-do list is a mile long, you're constantly feeling like you can't keep up, you're feeling overcommitted, these are all signs that you need to step up and set some boundaries. If you're feeling burned out, you're just feeling like you want to escape, right? Like you're just tired of hearing mom, mom, mom. Or like I'm going to share a little bit of something that's going on in my life right now. My 9-year-old is giving us the hardest time. It's giving us this is the hardest time that she's ever given us about going to school. And she just does not like school. It has been a battle for the past 3 weeks. And to the point where she was like threatening, like that she was going to hurt herself. and she won't share like what happened at school. She says it's like a jail. Like she has a few friends, and even I've been in touch with the counselor at school, and the counselor's like saying how she was out, like she'd be talking to her in conversation in the hallway, like just checking in with her and stuff. And she's telling Gianna is telling the counselor like how she doesn't have any friends. And at the same time, like a girl would walk by and be like, Gianna, are you going to be at recess today? Like, so clearly she does have friends. So we are trying to get to the bottom of this. She's been like begging to homeschool. I even started a sticker chart with her. Now, granted, she's 9 years old, but I am with her personal counselor because I have a lot of my kids in counseling because I feel like that extra support definitely is, being a counselor myself, I am a huge advocate of counseling. So don't be surprised that my kids are in counseling. My mom's always like, why are all the kids in counseling? I'm like, because I feel like it does take a village, and I love having that extra support to help with their mental health. But anyway, so her counselor was like, let's try a sticker chart because even though it's very like juvenile, right? Like we used sticker charts when she was potty training, but we're out of options. I'm like, I don't know how to get this kid to school. She's resorted to temper tantrums. We've tried, different coping skills, different techniques, like different strategies to get her to talk and to calm down and to self-soothe and all of these things. And it starts the night before, and we just can't get to the bottom of what is going on. And anyway, so I share that because I was feeling just worn out last night. Like I was feeling irritable. I was feeling just overtaxed because this girl has been really on my last nerve for the past 3 weeks. It has gotten to the point where it's just whining and crying, and we're only trying to get her past day one. Now, fingers crossed, this morning she got up. I did have to dress her, which is something that's new in the past 3 weeks, but I got her dressed. She got up, she sat by the fireplace, she ate her breakfast. She did not say, I don't want to go to school. And so right now we're working towards a fun movie night. That was her first, I'm like, day one movie night. And then of course, like we stretch it out like 3 days, she gets another prize or whatever. But she's been trying to work on this first day or first prize for weeks now. Well, about a week. And every day, she resorts to whining and crying so she doesn't get the sticker. So this morning, she did really well. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But last night, I was almost at my breaking point. Like it was 10:30. She was crying. And I was like, we have to get to sleep. We have to, like, I knew I was coming on here to do live. I have clients to see today, podcast interviews. She had school. Like we had a lot of things going on today. And I'm like, I need to get to sleep. We need to get to sleep. And I had to like pull in some coping skills. Like, how do I deal with this? And setting boundaries was a huge one because I had to teach her how I wanted to be treated. I had to create and model boundaries so that she knew what to expect. I had to create certainty. And that's exactly whether you're doing it with your kids, with your spouse, with your friends, with the community, with the moms or the parents of your kids' friends, like every relationship that you are in, it is essential to set up boundaries. And you need to step up and protect yourself with these boundaries for your emotional, physical, and mental health. It's like that, speaking of the same 9-year-old, brought home a paper yesterday from school counseling, all about personal space and the importance of it. And, they give different scenarios and stuff. So we started looking over it, and she's learning it as a young person, and we learned it as well. But oftentimes we let those boundaries fall as adults because we have some people pleasing tendencies Sound familiar, right? And so we let those boundaries go because we want to please, we want to make people happy. We have this like natural tendency, and it becomes worsened and worsened until you feel like, where am I? Like you've lost yourself. You've given so much of yourself that you've lost who you are. And so it is essential, again, to set up those boundaries. The first thing is to do when you're setting up boundaries is to, well, recognize that you need them, but then identify what you need and what you want. Do you need space? Do you need time? Do you need some time in your day to actually think? Are you so overtaxed or overcommitted that you're not giving yourself that time? Do you need space? Do you recognize like that you thrive better when you have some alone time during the day? Or maybe before your kids wake up, giving yourself that space. Do you recognize that perhaps you need boundaries around your finances? Like you spend a lot of money, or you're always like living paycheck to paycheck. Do you need some boundaries around that? Do you need some boundaries around your spouse? Like knowing when you need help, right? I've talked last week about help, and I know I'm using that, and it irks me to say help, but kind of like that back and forth thing. What do you need? It's really stopping and asking yourself, what do I need right now in the moment to make me feel whole? And then communicating that to others. And I have done another episode all about communicating your boundaries, which I'm not sure what number that is, but I will go ahead and link to that in the comments and in the show notes. But communicating your boundaries, being assertive and direct, right? Clear and concise, and really helping others understand what it is that you need and want, and learning how to ask for it. And then recognizing or realizing that when you are new to setting boundaries, there's going to be pushback. Sometimes the pushback's worse. Like when you're trying to be strong or you're trying to set these boundaries, people are going to push back. People aren't used to you having boundaries. Let's face it. And so when you start recognizing like, hey, I need to set these limits, there's going to be some tension. People are going to push back, but it's important to remain firm and consistent in order to maintain your boundaries. They will start responding accordingly, but it's up to you, right? Change only happens with you. It starts with you. And so you will need to know that it's going to happen. There's going to be pushback, but you are important. These boundaries are important, and they will serve you. So just to summarize, setting boundaries can help you create healthier relationships, have more control over your life, and reduce the stress and anxiety that you're experiencing. It's a proven fact. There's a lot of studies on boundaries. There's lots of books that are written. There have been people like myself who have realized that once you start setting boundaries, these things happen. Your stress is reduced. Your mental health is improved. Your physical health, your mental health. There's so many things, positive things that happen when you start setting boundaries. So don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid. My Supermom Detox coaching program, we talk a lot about boundaries because it's weaved in and out of all of the different things that we cover during the program. And you know how most importantly, it's about like changing the way you feel about yourself and recognizing that you are important, you matter. And with that, it's almost like it'll start, you'll feel better and you'll feel more able to set up those boundaries to allow yourself to be able to have better relationships. With practice and patience, setting boundaries can be an effective way. It's an effective way, but it's also an essential way to create better relationships. So if you are interested in setting up a call and chatting with me about how I can help you set up better boundaries, along with all of the other things that we cover in the Supermom Detox. Schedule a call with me. momswithoutcapes.com/love yourself. And let's talk. I want to hear about where you're struggling with as far as setting boundaries, taking off your supermom cape, people-pleasing, perfectionism, unrealistic expectations, all the things. What's keeping you in this perpetual state of overwhelm? And let's talk about how I can serve you and help you decrease that overwhelm and get back to you, reclaiming your sense of self. So the link to that will be in today's show notes and also in the comment section under this video. Let me know your biggest takeaways. It didn't look like anyone joined us live. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, doesn't look like anyone joined us live. So if you're watching this in replay, #replay, let me know any questions you have, any comments, all that jazz. And I hope that you have a great Thursday. Oh, wait, one more thing. I also want to mention, today I opened up registration for my Sleep Matters Masterclass. And you'll see some posts about it over the next few weeks. And if you're on my email list, you'll receive an email about it. But the Sleep Matters workshop, I've done it before. It is a 2-hour workshop. So it's a pretty substantial chunk of time it's a commitment, but you will learn so much. So what this is I take my counselor hat, like what I've done in my counselor hat, being in my treatment of insomnia and in my own research and readings, and I developed an entire workshop for mothers who cannot catch a good night's sleep. So seasoned moms, not moms of newborns, because that's a whole different season, and that has to do with like the fact that your kid's not sleeping or your baby's not sleeping. So if you are a mom with with, let's say, preschool age children and above, and you struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep, you're tossing and turning, maybe you resort to playing on your phone or watching television or just zoning out, staring at the ceiling. If you struggle with any of this, racing mind, not being able to calm yourself down, come to the masterclass. It's an amazing class. And well, if I do say so myself, but it really is. Like, I have packed a lot of information in it, and I want to help you improve the quantity and the quality of your sleep. So sign up. I'll put the link to that as well in the comment section and in the show notes. And you'll also be seeing here in the group, you'll also be seeing lots of posts about it. So that's it for today. And I hope that you have a great Thursday. Take care, everyone.